Come on, City. Happy Wednesday. I hope all you Blues had a fantastic day in work after City's 3-1 victory over the old enemy, United, in the first leg of the semi-final. We all know, first leg, there's only one half done yet. We need to go back. We need to go back to the Etihad. We need to finish the job. We need to win again. But before that, we've got a couple of key games to play. Myself, Tom, City Dave and Dan talk about all things City. We talk about last night's game, who we thought performed really well, who we think could do better. We talk an awful lot of talk in great detail about Sterling and where we think he could improve on. But of course we talk about the Villa game on Sunday, which is a 4:30 kickoff. Massive game. Every game from now to the end of the season is huge. But what a good performance that was by the Blue Boys last night. Come on, City. Hope you enjoy the show. Speak soon. Right, well, I've got a smile on my face. That can only mean one thing. Come on, City!
Yes.
Come on, City! Commanding lead. It's only half time. It's only half time. Let's not get too excited. But we absolutely took United to the cleaners yesterday. And how it was only 3 really, really frustrates me.
Yeah.
It should have been out of sight. Out of sight, not even an issue. No point going. it's one of them. But it's with them scoring a goal, they've got that little consolation prize where if they get their first goal at the Etihad, their tail's going to be up and they're going to be right at us. So we cannot be resting on our laurels. What do you think of the game, lads?
Dan, go for. I always go first. You go first.
Oh, bless you, bless you. No, yeah, it's exactly what you said though. When it's only 2 halves, first half we get to say the saying in new terms. Now we were typical City. You know, we were absolutely free flowing. We were playing everybody. Bar the odd couple, we're playing fantastic, you know, City of old, and like you say, we took them to the cleaners in that first half, and it should have been 5, easily should have been 6-0, and it's a shame it wasn't because they scored 1, and my score prediction would have been absolutely spot on, which it should have been.
Do you know what? 3-1, mate, at 3-0, I was thinking Dan's nailed this.
And I had my fingers crossed. I was like, come on, like, at least get a scoreline right, But no, we were brilliant, and I was very, very scared at the beginning, seeing that lineup with no recognised striker, and it did hurt us not having one to a degree that we should have scored more, like I said. But an overall performance, and just albeit we lost 1-0 in the second half, some players just had a commanding game. Walker, Fernandinho, 2 of the back, they were brilliant last night. And of course, Bernardo Silva was absolutely fantastic. One of his best games since all that rubbish happened with Mendy's and that tweet and what have you. It's about time he put a big performance out, and hopefully he can knock on and bring back his form.
Bernardo Silva has become the first Man City player since Sergio Aguero to score in 3 consecutive away games at United in all competitions. Now that is a stat.
Here's another one for you. Bernardo Silva, over the past 2 games at the Swamp, has scored 2 goals, which is 2 more goals than Jesse Lingard managed in the past 2 years at United at home. 2 games it took him. 2 games.
Is that the same Jesse Lingard people were saying is going to be on par with Kevin De Bruyne? Is that Jesse Lingard?
He's still young apparently, so he's got years of potential.
I was convinced he was going to score last night. You know, the pessimistic side of me thinking he's going to break his duct against us. Did anyone else think that?
Well, he had it coming, didn't it? It's like that same thing with that Pope bloke for Port Vale and Almiron with Newcastle. We all sort of jinxed it, and he got his first assist against us, and it was one of them. But I think his days at United are numbered now, and I think after being taken off against us, it's very hard for any team to take a player off at half-time against Man City right now. And the fact that they did that shows how much United struggled. As much as we played brilliant in that first half, it shows how poor they actually were. And they did change it around in the second half. Bringing Matic on was a perfectly brilliant tactical decision by Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, but they just weren't good enough.
When I saw that team sheet, I was a few minutes behind everyone else on our chat, on our group chat on Facebook, and I thought, what are they all on about? I looked at the team sheet. I thought, what is going on? I didn't. We tried to predict that team. We were nowhere near. Again, absolutely nowhere, miles of the mark away. But what I loved about it, and what I watched and what I saw play was Pep, with the formation of the team he put out, obviously wanted to boss the midfield, boss the ball, get the passing around. He countered their counter.
Yeah.
Who thinks of that? What's that all about? I can't.
That's what makes Pep though, isn't it? Absolutely tactical genius.
You know what? I'm never going to question him again when it comes to tactics, because I don't really understand what he's done. It's like a chess move, and he's thinking four spaces ahead of Kopernichov or whatever his name is. Ridiculous. What do you think, Dave? Come on, pills of wisdom.
So I'm in complete agreement, Tom. That I'm going to say it. I did call this. I told you that he would learn the lesson from
You did?
December, and I knew that we wouldn't play that well again. He obviously watched that game in December in minute detail and realised what he had to do. That's why I've been saying all week that he was going to spring a surprise, and he's going to know how United are going to come out and play this game. And obviously Solskjaer basically told them to play like they did at the Etihad. And Pep knew that's what was going to happen and knew exactly what he was going to do to counter that. And to Dan's point, yeah, we might not have played the same way, but my God, if Aguero had been on the end of Sterling's 3 chances that he missed, then yeah, we would have been out of sight. It would have been another 6-1, easy.
We'll come on to Sterling shortly, because I think we're going to end the call on him, because there's an awful lot to say about Raheem. Obviously, this is the first half, to all intents and purposes. I've got another stat here. City are responsible for 4 of United's last 12 defeats at Old Trafford. That's becoming our Etihad Campus 2, isn't it, over in Salford? I'm really enjoying these stats.
Only one team in Manchester.
This is true. I am. What is it? It's like 3 weeks away the next game, isn't it? Till we play him.
It is 3 weeks away. Yeah, which means Maguire might be back by then. I think that very much hurt them that Maguire didn't play last night, and I think we were all joking on our little private chat. You know, Phil Jones was going to be in there and had an awful game. How that lad has ever got an England cap is absolutely beyond me. And he's played for United like 350 times or something. He's a bad player.
If I ever complain about Nicholas Otamendi again, I will watch the highlights of that game last night and realise actually how lucky we are. Kevin De Bruyne sent Phil Jones back to 2019 last night with some style. It was unbelievable. That little move he did, and he just Phil Jones was falling over here, and it's unbelievable. I was ready, steady, and I'm so happy Kevin De Bruyne played for us, because he should have scored himself. Let's face it, but that ricochet going in off their player.
He deserved a goal though, just simply for that turn that he did to even create that chance. Because he just put him on his arse. It was brilliant.
I'm looking at our fixtures running up to the United game. It's 3 weeks away. The City have got Villa on Sunday. Next Saturday we've got Palace. The following Tuesday we got Sheffield United, and then we've got the FA Cup 4th round the Saturday before the second leg of the derby against Fulham at home. So we've got some really good, tough games. Obviously, Sheffield's going to be a tough one. Palace will always be a tough one. Villa, obviously, I don't know how Villa are going to play tonight really against Leicester.
I think it's impossible to say. They've lost Heaton and Wesley for the rest of the season, haven't they? So
yes,
I think they're going to have to play some tactical tweak. And the rumours that they're bringing in Joe Hart
really?
from Burnley, because he's apparently on 45k a week at Burnley, and he's not playing. So Villa want to bring in a first choice goalkeeper to cover Heaton. So
that's a lot of money for Burnley's wage bill.
Yeah, I kind of hope he doesn't until after we played him, because I don't really want to stuff about 10 goals past Joe Hart. It would be an awful thing to do.
Yeah.
No, I see what you mean. I'm really looking forward to the second leg. I'm really excited about it, but I'm also really nervous because they get their first goal. Like you say, they've got 3 weeks to get some. They've got 3 weeks to get Maguire back. And who else are they missing at the moment? Pogba's not going to be back again this season, is he? He's had surgery.
Pogba, yeah, I think McTominay, he's out for 3 months or something as well, so he won't be there. So it'll be somewhat the same team who we play in 3 weeks' time, probably apart from Jones out and Maguire in if he's fit, but I'm not sure he will be.
They released on it's a hip problem, so they have no idea when he'll be fit. That even United can't give a time frame to their own fans when he's going to be back.
We need to make the Etihad an absolute fortress that night. We need to make that cup final night. That place needs to be absolutely rocking. It's a quarter to 8 kickoff on a Wednesday night, which you know my feelings about night matches at the best of times. But on a Wednesday night, we need to bring absolutely everything to that game, and not the worst thing we can do now is contemplate. That's it. It's done. I really hope there's no City fans that are that stupid. There can't be, can there?
I don't think there is. And, we were both in the stands, Tom, last month, the way we played and the fans were not happy. I really think that the team need to put in a performance against United at the Etihad because this has been... So we lost last month. We lost last season at the Etihad when we could have wrapped up the league, so if you remember. We don't have a great record against, or Pep doesn't have a great record against United at the Etihad, and I think he's going to say we need to change this around and have these fans go home this time around with a smile on their faces.
Do you know what? I listened to Five Live podcast when we went out for a run before, and Kyle Walker was being interviewed, and he preached very similar to what you've just said. We were so disappointed with ourselves that game. We wanted to bring it for the fans, but we also know and realise that it's not over. We need to do it again. We need to go again. We need to be professional. Do the same thing again. The question I've got is what made that second half different? Was it purely them bringing on Matic to shore up the shop a little bit to stop them conceding? Because we did have chances. Was it just a case of us not being clinical enough again?
I think it looked a lot more defensive. In the first half, we were constantly on the counter-attack when we had the chances. We were pressing more at the pitch. Bernardo in the second half was still running and covering the middle. But you could just see we weren't as quick to get it out of our box, so to speak. We weren't playing it between Bravo in the first half. As soon as we got the ball, we were at the other end of the pitch going for the attack. And the second half, we were just doing a bit of passing, just trying to weave our way in. And I think it was just more Pep saying, look, see out this game now. Just get a few possession starts, get a bit of confidence flowing through you and just see out the game. But the Matic change for them did help. It did make a massive difference for them to control a little bit more in midfield. But I think it's purely just down to we dropped off. We just decided to play a bit more defensive game.
Watch back the goal. I know it's a bit painful, but watch back again Rashford's goal. Otamendi was absolutely fuming. I don't know if you remember seeing that. I watched it again this morning. He was absolutely fuming, which is great to see because you want that, don't you? Of course you want that.
Yeah.
As I was so disappointed, and they must be as well because they'll be on goal bonus, and obviously they know that United are back in it now. They're back in with a chance. Even at 3-0, I'd never say City are through to the next stage.
Never, ever.
Been there too many times. Possession-wise, we did well. Exactly. We had 57% possession. We had 15 shots and 5 on target. Good stats and 16 fouls against 6. There's a bit of tactical fouling going on last night. I don't remember much in the way of tactical fouling.
No, I think to Dan's point, I think this was Pep saying just the game's won, but try obviously not to let one in, but just slow the game down and do those little tactical fouls when appropriate. And more than anything, I think we're just at that stage of the season where please don't get injured.
Yeah.
So, and if the game's already won, which it somewhat was, then if you get the opportunity to score, then obviously do it, but just take your foot off the gas. We've got another big game on Sunday against Villa.
Yeah.
And we're going to need, you look at that team that we put out, the vast majority of those players we think will probably start on Sunday. So he obviously didn't want any injuries. So
it was funny to see Foden and Silva on the bench. You always automatically think one of the others is going to start, but he completely went against that and put Gundogan in, didn't he, instead of one of them? Or
Credit to him. Gundogan did play quite well last night, and we don't always on the podcast.
Sorry, Dan, you broke up there. Did you say Gundogan played well then? Automatically sounds like you complimented him then.
Nah, don't be getting your hopes up that much. All I said was he played all right. Don't be getting too giddy about it. But next thing you'll be saying I love him just as much as I love Ruben Diaz. Coming round for tea before long. Nah, he played all right. I was the only player in the midfield that I thought had a bit of a letdown that game was Rodri. And not just because he gave the ball away for the goal United scored. You could see it when he was tracking back. The rest of the team, you could definitely see the second half, it was more defensive. Yeah. Rodri wasn't running. As soon as he lost the ball, he was just trotting back.
I noticed that. Pep will be fuming about that.
Yeah, but throughout the second half, the whole second half, he wasn't really... He was passing well, but he just wasn't doing the work like Bernardo Silva was or Gundogan was. They were filling in the voids. And, for a defensive midfielder... He's got to be like Fernandinho, give his all for the whole 90 minutes. So Fernandinho, even if he was having a poor game, would not let off at all. He'd run and run and run. And he did that last night. He was more in midfield than he was defence last night, Fernandinho. And I can't wait for him to be back in midfield for a little bit again.
Yeah, no, there's still the rumours about Fernandinho and this 1-year contract extension as well. So I've heard nothing else about that, but I am hoping.
I think it's very likely, by the sounds of it, that he's going to sign the extension. I mean, why would he, apart from a signing on bonus, really, why would he want to move somewhere else for another year or 2 years, however long he's got left in his career now?
I've got a statement from ESPN, if you want to hear that's quoted Fernandinho. The club have already shown interest in me staying. I have also shown interest in staying. It's as good as long as they can be, as long as I can be at the highest level. That's got to be a good done deal, then, hasn't it, from that point of view?
Pep will be digging in his pockets as well to keep him. Like I said on the last podcast before the game last night, we would be nowhere near where we are now if it weren't Fernandinho. He has done Pep a massive service this season. I think Pep, more than anybody else, including the fans, will be doing everything he can to keep Dino at the club next year.
Yeah.
Agreed.
I don't blame you. So one person that's going to be leaving the club, massive happy birthday to David Silva.
34.
34 years young.
Doesn't look an age over 25, does he?
No.
Well, that's him. I just wanted to give him a quick mention for his birthday before we move on to the elephant in the room for me, Raheem Sterling. If I think you mentioned it before, Dave. If Sergio Aguero had been in those striking positions that Sterling was in, he would have 10 goals more this season.
Easy.
I think, and I don't think that's hard, probably more. I don't understand. I mean, we have had a few discussions on the page and things like that, and there's obvious love for Sterling. He could do a job. He's a fantastic player. My only issue and my gripe for Sterling is not at him. It's potentially the management and Pep in playing him too much and relying on him too much and putting too much pressure on him. Because I'm not seeing the same player this year that I saw last year.
No.
What do you think?
Well, it's exactly what I was discussing with you lot on the post that I put up to this morning about defending him. I was getting a lot of stick for a post you put up last night, Tom. Was 5-6 admins on the page, and we all have our own views, and we all express them. And for me, I completely agree. He's just being played too much, and we all know, and everybody's sort of laughing at me, and I still stick by it, and everybody disagreeing. I still think Sterling is world class, and not many players are in that position. De Bruyne is definitely that. But over the past 2 seasons, bar this season, Sterling has been world class. He has won us games that no other player had stepped up in the previous 2 seasons and pulled goals out the bag. I still remember that 2 seasons ago when he got us the winner against Bournemouth. That was a player that had completely transformed from the player we first signed, and Pep did that with him. But it's completely like what you said, Tom. Pep is almost, you could argue, running him into the ground in a sense. yes, we need him because Sane is not playing, but I just wish like Pep would listen to this podcast and maybe play Jesus out on the left and give Sterling, even if it's a couple of games rest, and all the fans get on Pep's back saying, why ain't he playing? He's meant to be this world-class player or something. Why ain't he playing? Why ain't he playing? The lad looks absolutely shattered.
Yeah,
He does. You can see, like Dave said on a previous podcast, when was the last time he got past the first man dribbling?
Oh, I can't remember. The amount of times he's run into Dark or run into the man himself.
Well, just to clear up, because I know a lot of people will be looking at this saying, well, I thought you were supposed to be defending him from the post. I completely am 100% behind Sterling. I've said, yes, he needs to kick up the arse, because sometimes he does. He has a really good game, but he doesn't bring it all. You know, he's doing all the good bits, but he's just not finishing it off like we know he can. But other times, he just needs a rest. He's a world-class player, and I'll continue to defend him every minute of the day and say he's world-class. He's just absolutely shattered, in my opinion, and I don't blame him if he wants to have 2 games out.
No, I don't. Listen, for me, this isn't a case of bashing, the player bashing. Absolutely not. This conversation we're bringing up here is more a case of what we need to understand why Sterling is being the way he is, because there's obviously a reason behind it, because he's not hit the levels he was last season, and we are absolutely within our rights to discuss this, because he hasn't. Let's face it, we can't put a brick wall around Raheem Sterling if he's not performing.
Mm-hmm.
We're a podcast. We're here to talk about the team and everything Manchester City, and Sterling's name has been mentioned how many times by us in the last 4 or 5 weeks? Every podcast. And it's not because he scored 2 or 3 goals and had world-class performances. He's just not been the same player. And I'll bring that back to the point I mentioned yesterday. I believe that is because we've not got the likes of Sane who can play instead of him and give Sterling the rest that is needed.
Agreed.
That makes complete sense.
Well, I think that's what's happening with Pep right now, to Dan's point, that he's so headstrong in the, okay, well, I don't have Sane. I don't have anyone else to play in that position. I love Sterling, so I'm going to play him.
Yeah.
Whether it's League Cup, whether it's FA Cup, whether it's Premiership or Champions League, he's one of his go-to players. But I completely agree with Dan that he's tired. He's just done. Like, I've not seen him take him past a player in months now. And what my concern was, having watched last night, and I've seen it in a couple of other games, is I'd said to you guys on our private little chat, all Sterling seems to be able to do at the moment is run onto a through ball, because he's still got the pace to do that and nick a goal that way. He couldn't even do that last night. He couldn't even do that. I mean, he's getting his feet all mixed up. Am I hitting with my left or my right? He just didn't seem to know what to do, even when he got ahead of his man. So if he's losing that aspect now, and we already know he's lost this aspect of being able to look up and take it round the man, what, apart from just having his presence on the pitch, that he's going to be man marked maybe, he's not actually bringing a lot more to the game right now, and that's my massive concern.
Especially we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. We've got 5 games in the next 3 weeks. I wouldn't be averse to dropping him on Sunday at all, and just giving him a rest, letting him do what he needs to do, get his head back in the game, and just come back all guns blazing for Sheffield and Crystal Palace. I mean, we got Fulham in the 4th round in a week and a bit. That's a massive game for me, the FA Cup. I love the FA Cup. We need to be full strength squad for that, and I would love to see Sterling come out at his absolute best for that game, and then United a couple of days later.
Yeah, that's going to be a nice game. Fulham are a nice football inside since Parker took over.
Parker, yeah.
Yeah, I think he's going to go places, Parker, as a manager, to be honest. I think that they will try and play a little bit at the Etihad. I don't think they'll put 10 men behind the ball. I think they'll come and try and give us a game, and that always sits well with the team and with the fans as well, when a team actually comes to Etihad and actually wants to play us a bit and give us a game, rather than, just shutting up shop. Tends to be a bit of a boring game then, doesn't it? So
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be an interesting couple of weeks to see what we do formation and team-wise. I think Pep's going to revert back to form and play the tradition. I wonder if he'll go back to playing the three at the back with the two wing backs. You know, with Rodri just dropping into the centre, so dropping into defence. I wonder if he'll do that against Villa on Sunday.
I think he should do that for the rest of the games this season. It clearly works. I mean, he did it against Leicester, didn't he? And it just everything clicked. Everything clicked. You know, we had that extra man in defence, allowing our two wing fullbacks just to get up the pitch and support our wingers. And who knows, doing that might give the likes of Sterling a bit more of a resting going forward, because they don't have to do that much running. You know, they can weave in, get in the box and do a Sterling style thing and just get in the box and tap a ball in from a Walker or a Mendy power driven crossing. You know, Walker did a couple of them last night and they were fantastic crosses. Do that with Sterling in the middle, or Aguero in the middle, or Jesus even in the middle. Goes for fun. And then we've got the confidence at the back, because we've got three big, strong, fast lads at the back, you know.
Yeah.
Well, not necessarily fast, but you know what I mean.
Thought Walker did well, speaking of fast.
It was
to slate Walker recently, but you know, against United a couple of weeks ago, he was our best player. I think he was our best player, and I thought he did well last night. He can't go wrong at the minute.
Yeah,
agreed. That's why Cancelo's not getting in the team, and Cancelo has a decision to make here. Is he going to stay and fight for his place, or is he going to take the easy way? Because there's all these rumours about he's potentially going to, Valencia?
Yeah.
That I would hate to see him go, because I've seen flashes of a very good player in there, but he can't, in all honesty, turn around and say that he deserves a place ahead of Walker right now. But that's what he's got to do now. The challenge is he's got to knuckle down like every other player who Pep Guardiola has signed and show what he can do.
You'd like to think he'd have that thing about him where whenever a new player comes to City, they've got to realise they're not going to be number one every week. So there's going to be that rotation. So I'd like to think that we've got a couple of years left in him yet before he does think that. He can't after one season go, right, okay, because he would have known, wouldn't he, that this is what we do.
Yeah.
You think so?
He's got to look at Mahrez for that example. Last season, I think Mahrez even expected to come straight into the squad and think, I'm going to be the bee's knees here. And he didn't show his A game. And, you know, he was flashing between Sterling. Obviously, Sterling was more on the right side with Sane there. But Mahrez accepted it, you know, and he brought his A game. And this season, he's doing that. You know, Cancelo, I still hold a bit of a grudge against him, against that Oxford tie. I just can't see past that. Any other player on our team would not have done that. And I don't know if it's just me being prophetic, holding the grudge.
What was that?
The bit where he kicked out with a player and then he went down.
Sorry, mate. Hang on, press the wrong button. Say that again, pal.
The bit where he kicked out at one of the Oxford lads and then he went down.
Yeah.
Down. I know I shouldn't hold grudges because players obviously make mistakes, but it's just, I can't see past that. I think he has got a little bit of a, I want to say, pathetic side about him.
Yeah.
And if he's, I'd rather him show his colours now and us to make a decision in the summer, or him to take the decision into his own right and get out the club or fight for his place. I'd just rather it show it now than hide it and then Walker goes or something like that, and we haven't got anybody
he'll have that knocked out of him. The players, especially the British players, will be saying to him he needs to knock that on the head, because that's not good, is it? At the best of times. This is where we missed the likes of Vincent Kompany, who would have had him straight in the dressing room saying, "What are you playing at?" There will be something like that at City. Kevin De Bruyne was very vocal yesterday. He's still showing off his captain potential, isn't he? From what I saw yesterday. He is. There's no doubt about that. There can't be a question mark about Kevin De Bruyne being our next captain. Can there?
No, I mean, we did this on the podcast, didn't we, a couple of weeks ago, that I will be stunned if De Bruyne doesn't get captaincy next season. And then my fervent hope is, as it is with a lot of City fans, is that we bed Foden in and that he will take over the captaincy, you know, when he's in his mid-20s, just like Steven Gerrard did. You know, and I keep saying it, I think Foden has the potential to be our Steven Gerrard, definitely be that one club man, so to speak, who carries that team.
God, I hope so.
It was you though, wasn't it, Dave, that saying a few podcasts ago, saying all the youngsters who are coming on all look to Foden rather than anyone else, don't they?
Of course they
And
will.
you can see it though, can't you? You can see the trait. But that's a good thing for us. I think over the past decade, we've missed that. A young lad coming through the academy and the other young lads that are coming through want to sort of resemble one of our lads coming through the academy saying, I want to be like him. And I just so hope that Howard Bellis and Tommy Doyle bring their A game to this squad, because imagine that. 3 Manchester-born lads coming into the squad, all playing for City.
Speaking of Howard Bellis and Doyle, did you see them in the away end last night? And Zinchenko,
Yeah.
It's amazing. I love that. Yeah. I love seeing City players in the stand.
Yeah, more of that. I know the multimillionaires. I know the big stars on the front page of papers and stuff. But yeah, more of that. More that community feel. I'm all for.
Absolutely, lovely. I love stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Well, have we got anything else to discuss, boys? Because I feel like I've got a lot off my chest there. I'm glad we did it tonight.
No VAR. Oh, it's like the 5th podcast in a row.
No VAR? Crikey. Yeah. Hey, and long may it continue.
Right. Well, talking of VAR, though, just to go on, did you hear about David Seaman's chat? I think it was on TalkSport. Was it yesterday morning or something like that, talking about VAR?
Go on.
No. He was discussing it, saying he is a massive advocate for it because he thinks that it's doing the right thing. And I just thought, being a club and a team that have been on...
Where's he been?
I don't know.
To come out and start saying this. He wants. Has he got a book coming out? He's got a book coming out. Mark my words. He's got a book coming out.
I tell you what, though, if he honestly believes that about VAR, he really wants to go to a few City games or rewatch a few City games from this season. Because my God, we have a different story to tell.
I won't disagree that it's getting the predictions right. I just don't necessarily agree with the rules that's built behind VAR and the way it's portrayed. But anyway, let's not discuss it because I think we're going to.
We never talk about it.
You jinxed it now because you now know there's going to be a huge VAR flashpoint on Sunday.
I said it will get a VAR decision against United in the return leg, a 90-minute Sterling penalty. You've heard it here first.
What, for us, I hope?
For us, in the 90th minute, we'll get a VAR decision penalty for us, and Sterling will take and he'll rifle it in the back of the net. I said it on the last.
Sterling to take it, do you? I don't think I'd trust Sterling to take anything at the moment. If I'm honest with you, I think I'd rather give it to Ederson.
Wouldn't be a bad shout though.
Really want Ederson to take a penalty at some stage.
To score. He never will, though, will he? Because he's that professional goalkeeper's etiquette. But do you know what? Fuck it. Go for it, Ederson. Smash it into the top corner. I would love
Surely, if we get a game going to penalties, which would be League Cup or Champions League now, right?
Yes.
Surely you put Ederson in that rotation. Surely.
Well, he's got to be in there if we don't score at least 10 goals. But I know where you're coming with that. The problem is, I'm thinking of who are our 5 penalty takers now?
Aguero.
Yeah, you rattle off the main ones, don't you? But you think to yourself, do you know what? Ederson's got such a kick on him, and he can pass, and he can. I reckon he's got a wicked free kick on him.
Yeah, who's gonna, even an established goalkeeper, if Ederson hits the ball directly at you with the heat he can bring, you're just gonna duck out the way, aren't you? Like
you've got a broken wrist, haven't you?
No one's gonna try and save that. He's got a kick like a mule. You're just gonna get out of the way.
You've definitely got a broken wrist if you're saving that.
Yeah, like he should be in the first 5, in my opinion. Just, he'd score.
Oh, absolutely. Right, lads. On that note, I've seen that Grealish are looking to go to United. We'll leave them as that. I don't think they're going to sign him before the dark. They probably could actually. It's doing the transfer window now, aren't we?
I'm kind of surprised at that. There's been nothing. There's usually, as soon as that transfer window opens, there's usually a deal that's been kind of in the offing, and then on January 1st or 2nd, it's usually announced. And there's been nothing. I think Danny Drinkwater going on loan to Villa is basically the biggest transfer this window up to yet.
Premier
We've
League.
made a signing, no?
Huh?
Who has?
We've made a signing, apparently. He's hold your breath. You're gonna be shocked when I say this. Don't know his name. He's a 16-year-old from the Scottish leagues, whether that's Hibernian Hearts or whatever. I don't know who he is.
He's a winger, right? Yeah, he's a winger.
I don't know who he is.
Yeah, you are right. He's 16, 17 years of age, and he's I think he's a winger. I don't know his name. I think we paid like 90 grand for him or something.
Yeah, he's never played a senior game. He's only played, I think it's 7 under 18 Scottish international games. That's it. Must have impressed in the youth because, like I say, nothing about him.
So what will happen then is that he will stay with us. This will be another Patrick Roberts. He will stay with us for 3 or 4 years, and then guaranteed he will be sold to Rangers or Celtic
I was going to say the same
for
thing.
2 or 3 million. And I don't mind that as a business plan, because City have never done that before, and plenty of other clubs have. But we are seeing a preponderance of that now, of a lot of players who we sign who never gonna ever put on a blue shirt, but we actually make money on them.
Brendan Barker was one of them.
Yeah,
he's at Rangers now.
Yeah, and we kind of make some money on that, so I'm all for it.
It's a revenue stream that we can't afford not to be using at the moment with what's it called? Financial fair play.
Financial FFP rules, yeah.
Do you know what? The players know what's happening. So, it is what it is. It puts him in the shop window. He's going to get the best training on the planet because of our academy and the way it's coming through. It's a win-win for me, and he's going to get showcased. Look, and clubs will be thinking, "Oh, hang on, is he the next Jordan Sancho? We need to keep an eye on him." So he's put him in the shop window. I don't blame him. Whatsoever. Good luck to that.
I think it was. I was reading something the other day. I think it's the West Ham academy coach, and he said something that really struck me. And it was about. He basically said that what they do there with their academy players is they try and say that we're going to give you a career, and I think that's what this is all about. It's not saying specifically you're going to go through all the stages and you're going to be playing for West Ham one day. But what they are saying is that we're going to give you an education, Tom, to your point, and give you the training. Yeah. So whether you play for West Ham or whether you transferred, somewhere else, you're going to have that 15 to 18-year career in football. And I think that's the nice way of looking at it. I would guess that's how City are approaching some of these younger players as well, that look, we're not guaranteeing you're ever going to play at the Bernabeu, in a Champions League quarter-final, but we're going to make sure that you're involved in the game in some way, and whether that's League Two or in Scotland or going abroad or whatever. And I like that kind of thinking. That's got to give these younger players a little bit of hope that, you know what, I'm going to be a professional, because that's all they should be bothered about.
It's what is equivalent to the manufacturing or any sort of industry's best apprenticeship going. It's going to be the best apprenticeship for any young lad going into it. When my son finishes school, he doesn't want to go to university, whatever. My daughter wants to go straight to an apprenticeship. Fantastic! I'd love it to be into the Man City equivalent of what they do, because it makes absolute sense, because they're going to learn so much, and the network of players that they'll meet, and etc. etc. Yeah, it makes absolute sense for any young player to come and play for City. Plus, it looks good for us and keeps them away from United.
Exactly. The last point I want to make, and I've said this before as well, what I've always been concerned about with City is undervaluing the players that they sign. That they sell. I always use the example of going back a few years of Nicolas Anelka. We bought him for 13 million, which even then was an absolute steal. Yeah. But then we sold him to Bolton for 7. The only decent money, in my opinion, that City have ever really made on players is Sean Wright-Phillips, obviously, because he was an academy player. Yeah. And Gary Flitcroft. Yeah, Gary Flitcroft, and I'm going back a long time, but Gary Flitcroft was our club captain, and we got relegated. We sold him to Blackburn for 3.4 million, and he became an absolute Blackburn legend as well. But we always have this tendency of undervaluing and not getting the value out of our players. And this is what I said a few weeks ago, that If Bayern Munich want Zane, well, it's 135 million. No, we're not going to. Surely we're not in the position now as a club where we have to go, yeah, all right, then you can have him for 80 or whatever. No, if Pogba is going for that kind of money and Neymar's going for 200 million, I just think we're a big enough club now that we can stick our flag in the sand and say, no, it's 130, it's 150 million, or there's no deal. And I want us to get better at doing that kind of thing.
No, absolutely right. Absolutely right. I think we're what a good way to leave it on. I want to leave it on one little touch, which I've just seen. Love this. Before we go, lifelong Norwich City fan Barry Greaves sadly passed away, aged 83 recently, and he left the club £100 in order for the players to buy them the drink.
God,
how nice is that?
Cracking.
Oh, bless his little socks.
That's brilliant.
That's class. Love that. Fair play to you, Barry.
Yeah.
Right. On that note, chaps, bring on the Villa.
Bring on Villa. Are we doing predictions?
Go on then. Predictions. What are we going for? I'm not touching it.
Age before beauty, Dave.
Okay. Tight game again. I think Villa will, even though they've not been playing well recently, I think they'll turn up against us because most teams do. But I think we'll win. Same result as last night. I'm going to go 3-1.
Okay.
We at home or away?
We are at home.
5-0.
We're away. We're away.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, we are. We're away.
Away. Oh, 6-0. 5 more realistic.
Why not?
6-1.
Do you know what, mate?
Let's get a 6-1.
Oh, yeah.
Why not? No, stick with your first.
I think we'll win. What my concern is the consistency, that we seem to be still having a brilliant game and playing well. You know, like when I was at the Burnley game the other week and was all excited, and then we go and put in a performance 4 days later like we did against United.
Yeah.
We played brilliantly last night. Please, can we continue that run going? And if we play like we did against United, then Villa will be taken apart.
Yeah.
And I'll stick with my 3-1.
6-0 and 3-1.
6, definitely 6.
Right, we'll leave it to you, lads.
All right.
One City, and we'll speak to you next week.
All right.
Bye,
See
lads.
you till we die. See you later.
All the best, boys.
Bye.
Bye-bye.